I have good and bad news. The good news being that the final inspection, everything was fine. That was all clear. So then all I had to do was the brake test. And unfortunately I have failed the brake test. I got to join and do the brake test with them. At the start it seemed okay, but as things heated up, the distance of braking started getting long, and then as we were getting up to 100, we were going too far as it heated up. I'll start off with 7 years ago. When we did this, we knew we had to upgrade the front brake system to obviously handle the power of the 1J that we're putting in this car that doesn't weigh much. 7 years ago, no big brake kit existed for the RT132, nor an XT130 or any similar models. There were brake upgrades, but nothing to this extent, and then there were some brake upgrades, but those parts don't exist for those cars anymore because everyone's used them, and they're even more difficult to track down and quite expensive. At the time, Techno Toy Tuning were making kits for an RA28. When looking online, the struts did seem to be interchangeable, so we went with that kit. Once we got the kit and we started working on it, we realized there is a bit of a difference. We also struggled with the hubs that we had because we changed these to 5 studs, which came out of another Toyota. So obviously we had to play around, get different rotors. We had to make a fair few spacers and shims. It's just a lot of playing around to get these brakes to work. During that time, I watched a lot of videos, talked to a lot of experts, but you would have seen on channels like the Skid Factory where they talk about how Wilwoods are not really made for street performance. They definitely seem to be more used in the drifting or drag racing scene where they're not getting used all the time. It definitely was obvious. Once they started heating up, we started having issues. Since installing the Wilwoods, and like I said, we had to get different rotors, I started talking with a company called Hoppers Stoppers in Melbourne, Australia, where I live. They also mentioned to get rid of these. And when this happened, I decided to reach out to them. 7 years ago, I didn't know they existed, but I also don't think they were doing kits like this. But yeah, going on their website now, you can see they make a big brake kit for the XT130, which I assumed would be very similar. I know the rear is. I started talking to them. I said I've got spare struts that haven't been touched because the other ones we had to make some modifications. I had a spare set just in case. I gave them the strut, and within a week they were able to make me a kit. They did say there is a slight difference between the XT and the RT. They've done so many Toyota kits now, they were able to make me up a kit. We are upgrading to the AU2 brakes. These are definitely much bigger. The rotors are slightly bigger, but they still fit underneath a 15-inch rim. They give you everything. They give you, this is their kit. Obviously you get the rotors, the 2 calipers, they give you the mounting hubs and the stud pattern as required, all new bearings, seals, grease caps, the adapter brackets, washers. Everything that you need, the lines as well, brake lines, they give you everything that you need. Obviously I've heard of the AU2 brake upgrade. It's very well known, and it's awesome that they can make a kit that I can just grab all this, all new bolts, everything, all new studs, and hopefully we're going to put it all on today and it will work. They've also given me a proportion valve, which we'll have to sort out because the rears were also locking up quite a bit. I'm excited for this. These look magnificent. I've obviously got them powder coated, and they also just have a lot more coverage on the rotors. I think that will make a big difference. So if anyone else is looking to do a brake upgrade, Hoppers Stoppers in Victoria, they do make this kit for an RT132. They have that on file, but they also have the XT130 and they have many other. And it seems to be, if they don't have it and you can give them the strut, they'll make something for you. And what we're also doing is upgrading the booster and master. So we're going from a single to a double, and we're also going to a 1-inch master cylinder. Hoppers Stoppers supplied me with all this. This is their recommendation. So I guess there's nothing to it but to put it in and then book again to do another inspection, because I'll have to do an inspection with the engineer of the new brake system, and then we go and do the brake test again. Hopefully with this setup we'll have no issues. Let's get to it.